So many people like Haley are now sleeping outside New Life Evangelistic Center, working to be there when people are hurting. They're alone. They're in need. I thank God for those of you that are praying, caring, and sharing at this critical hour. So many people like Haley are sleeping outside. Haley, where have you been sleeping in?
The last 3 days I've been sleeping with my cousin-in-law in his van, but
in the van?
Since I moved back, I was staying at a tent at one point.
In a tent?
Anywhere I could lay my head, even over by railroad tracks.
Wow. What's the hardest thing about sleeping outside? Because it's been bitter cold.
The fact that I get cold easily with me being anemic and health issues. I just lost a kid, so it's even more hard for me than anything.
You're here at the New Life Evangelistic Center right now. What does it mean to be in this place here?
It's still a struggle, but I'm working on it.
It's been a help to you in the middle of that struggle? I understand that you told me earlier that you could use some clothes, you need sleeping bags, blankets, bus tickets, and all of those different things.
Yeah.
Well, she's not alone. There are many that are coming right now. And yes, it's a struggle. And through the love of God, we want to be there when people are hurting. And I want you to know that God loves you. I know sometimes you feel very alone, but you're not. He's there. He just really wants to help you right now. Just let His light shine in your life. Will you do that?
Yes.
Okay. As we try to help her, we see so many others that are coming to us that need help now.
All right. How are you today, sir?
Doing great. I'm trying to give a testimony about how the clothing room has blessed me.
Okay.
I was communing with the Lord the other day, and more than one time I've come to the realization your clothing room, the very clothes on my back have come out of your clothing room. In fact, I've been around you guys for many years, and I just want to thank God for it, what you've done. Socks, underwear, pants, shirts, coats in the winter, and other things. And it's a good thing that's going on with me and Veterans Coming Home Center here in Springfield.
Amen. Well, praise the Lord. And we're so grateful to those of you who donate to the free stores here in Springfield and also in Columbia, at Potosi, and in St. Louis, Missouri. The free stores are vital outreach and ministry to so many people, as this brother testifies. What's your name?
Bill Bates.
Bill testifies to how important the free store is in his life. And but more than that, we love to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with people and encourage one another in love and befriend people. And you find all these things here.
Yes, and also when I was in St. Louis, when I came up here 13 and a half years ago, I got help downtown there. Mm-hmm. So it's been in more than one city that you guys have helped me. Amen. Been willing to reach out.
Amen. All right. Well, thank you to those of you who donate to the free store, and want to encourage others to give what you can, not just clothes, but also household supplies and shoes and backpacks and T-shirts, things like that are always in need. So thank you very much. Thanks.
God bless you. Thank you for having me on. I haven't been on in a while.
All right. God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Jackie's part of our Women in Need program, comes in here in the evenings before they go to a safe place to sleep at night. But she's here throughout the day. And I thank God for those that are volunteering at the New Life Evangelistic Center at 806 North Jefferson in Springfield. And has this place been a help to you, Jackie?
Yes, some of the staff's have been very helpful.
I understand you came from a domestic violence situation?
Yes.
So we need to try to get you into a place of your own too, don't we?
Yes, sir.
And so try to be looking for a place, okay?
I will.
And be praying that people out here will share with New Life so we can help you toward getting in that place, okay?
Yeah.
What's the hardest thing about being without a home, Jackie?
It gets cold and I have seizures, so.
Do you really?
And I can, have to sleep on the floor, and it hurts my back.
Being at New Life here at our day center Has that been a help to you?
Yes, it has.
And who told you about it?
One, Open Doors.
They told you about coming here during
Yes.
the day and stuff? Behind me, the people working on computers over here. They have a free store back there. They put meals out, laundry, showers,
That's good.
lockers, and even a place where someone take a nap during the day.
Yes.
All because of all of you that are sharing at this time, because there are so many people that need help, and it's to New Life Evangelistic Center they're coming to. So we're praying that you'll get involved and partner with us now and share that much needed gift with New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166. And I thank God for each one of you that are caring and sharing.
Hi, tell us your name.
Chase.
And Chase, what brings you to NLEC today?
Help. I guess help as far as like trying to basically rehabilitate myself, get myself together. I just got out of prison. I just did what I've been gone since 2009, so I'm really trying to rehabilitate to society and get myself together. You know?
Yeah, it takes time to learn your way again and find work. And
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Right. Well, that's what we're here for, is to help folks who are getting out of prison to get back on their feet, and people who are homeless. Where are you staying now?
I recently became homeless, like, I think it was a month and a half ago. The situation was kind of crazy, but it's something I got to deal with. But I've been, like I said, I've been filling out applications. I done had a few jobs, but I end up falling off as far as, meaning I end up losing the jobs as far as like transportation, but I'm gonna just keep trying. I enrolled in school, which is OTC, Ozark Technical Community College, so I'm just trying to get everything in order, you know. So
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Chase. God bless you.
no problem.
I'm talking to Camille at this time, and Camille is doing some very unique things, which I think is really great, kind of going the extra mile. She's actually running in the Republican candidacy for the United States Senate, but she's very much identified with the homeless. Recently, you did what? Tell the folks.
Well, 2 weeks ago, I went down, I bought a bunch of, cold weather gear, hats, gloves, socks, sleeping bags, long underwear, actually went person to person handing them out. Connected with a DJ, DJ Don from KSHE, who contacted me on Elliot Davis's blog because I was looking for somebody to help me connect with the homeless, and he had been previously homeless. So connected with him, and then about a week ago, he was looking for a couple that's homeless. The woman's handicapped, and she's in a wheelchair.
Yes.
And he was concerned because of the cold weather, so he went and bought them a tent.
Yes.
And they put it somewhere. It's called Turtle Park in St. Louis.
Yes.
And so I asked him if they had room in their tent, and he goes, "For what?" And I said, "Because I want to see what it's like." It's hard for me to connect with what the homeless go through, suffering through the cold, if I have not experienced it myself. So he said they didn't have room, and I said, "Well, I'm buying a tent, and I'm coming down." And he goes, "Would you mind if I do this experience with you?" And I said, "No," because I was bringing my dog anyway. So I bought a tent at Walmart, sight unseen, thought it looked like a good tent. Got down there Tuesday. Tuesday, by the way, it was 10 degrees and minus 12 at night with the wind chill.
Right.
And we set the tent up at about 9 p.m.
Yes.
and found out the top 2/3 were screen. So it had like a little tarp to go over it, but basically it was pretty much open element.
Yes.
So I had an extra blanket, I covered it, and then we went in the tent and spent 8 hours and documented exactly what we went through. I Facebook Lived a lot of it. We were right by the river near the old Admiral Casino boat landing.
Yes.
There were icebergs in the water. There was 2 other tents, another homeless couple.
Yes.
And I had given her long underwear. And before we left, I gave him the sleeping bag and whatever else we had left.
Let me interrupt you for a moment because you're bringing back to me memories. Abraham Lincoln's birthday many years ago. I did this in a cardboard box in front of City Hall. I remember what happened is my feet got so cold, and the more socks I'd put on, the more they'd sweat and the more they'd freeze, and I tossed from side to side. I don't think I got hardly any sleep that particular night, and it's very hard to sleep when it's that cold.
I did a lot of research prior to going and found out scientifically that it is more painful to die from freezing than it is from burning to death. And that is a fact, proven by documentation.
Even if you go to sleep, just like...
See, that's a misnomer.
Yeah.
You do not go to sleep.
Okay.
We didn't sleep the whole night. Once we started freezing and going into hypothermia, we started shaking. And once you shake, you don't stop shaking. In fact, I shaked so much that my Fitbit said that I walked 6,800 steps just because, I was constantly moving. I documented the different symptoms. At one point, a couple hours in, we couldn't talk, and we sounded like we were drunk. And so now I understood the wrong assumption that people think when they see a homeless person and they're cold and they slur their speech, they assume wrongly, I'm sure a lot of the times, that they're drunk. And it could be because the hyperthermia has contracted the muscles and it's difficult for them to speak. But, ignorance.
Let me interrupt you again. Tell people, why did you do all this? Why did you subject yourself to this kind of pain?
I did it because in the past 3 weeks,
yes,
2 homeless people passed away. One was Grover Perry,
right? He used to stay at our place all the time.
Yes, he stayed at the NLEC. He was mentally challenged.
Yes.
I'm sure you know this. Mentally challenged individuals bond with their caregivers and what they presume to be a safe space.
Yep.
And that was his safe space. And he connected with it. He was familiar with it.
Yes.
And when the city abruptly closed down your center and with no alternative, he was thrust out into the elements.
Yes.
The only thing he could figure out, being compromised mentally, was to live in a porta potty. And unfortunately, and that was in the middle of the city, downtown.
Right.
Because I saw where that was.
Near the Wainwright building.
They all knew it, the fancy buildings,
yes.
Office people
he's a
going to
family
work.
Member. He lost his family in life.
He did have a brother,
Frank.
Yeah, that was trying to look out for him. Had no idea that all this was going on until after the fact. And
by the way, if a reporter had not called him, he probably would have never found out what happened to his brother.
No,
the police never contacted him. The city officials never contacted him. His reporter Jesse Bogan contacted him, and he had contact with Grover for like 6 months. But just that fact that lost a family member, never would have known about it.
And I know this is a stretch.
Yes.
But we have human rights laws in this state, and it is incumbent upon our Attorney General to pursue what would be a violation, which I consider negligible homicide, because of the fact that this mentally compromised individual, Mr. Perry, needed help. He was incapable of making life decisions. And when they thrust him out into the elements and he died, as far as I'm concerned, that should be considered negligible homicide, and his human rights were violated. And our Attorney General in this state has the capacity to go after city officials that violate, state law. And I believe state law in this case was violated when they abruptly shuttered, the NLEC and threw these people out on the street with no alternative shelter. And yours is not just a shelter. You provide
a
whole program of life skills.
Yeah.
You try to get the homeless off the streets, back into jobs, back into housing. So for people to think, it's just a building they're sleeping at. No, it's a whole program. And they got rid of that whole program because they shuttered it. A lot of those people were vets that served this country. Now they're living in these buildings, which I took photos. It looks like a third world down in St. Louis. There is a reason the crime has gone up. There is a reason they're having problems. There's a reason they only have 350,000 people living there where they used to have a couple million. They've created a war zone, and it's due to zoning problems, political undersight instead of oversight, graft, corruption, whatever else.
You know what happened the last time since I saw you, Camille? Matt Monk and a number of others that are part of this neighborhood organization turned around and sued us and the city to try to stop the city from giving us the permits after we've done all the work to reopen as a day center. They've now sued us and the city. These neighbors
is that the guy at the condo?
Yes.
That ugly white building next to yours that has no historical value.
Well, and also, yes, and Brad Waltrip, I think, has that, and what they refer to as the Monkey Building on the 1400 block of Washington, gathered together, sued the city and New Life to stop the city that even after we do all the work from allowing us to reopen it as a day center, such as we have right here in Springfield, we want to do the same thing in St. Louis. So, how low can they go?
But you know what I find funny? Because we were driving around and we were looking at the vacant buildings. Don, his name is Don Edwards with KSHE. He had showed me a building 1 mile from those fancy condos. It's an old school building where 4 people were beat with a hammer.
Oh, yes.
This past year.
Tried to help
so these people don't want the homeless shelter that's trying to raise people up and get them back on their feet, but it's fine to live within a mile of a place where people were brutally attacked with a hammer. And by the way, those people had been displaced by the closing of NLEC. Had that center remained open, they probably wouldn't have been seriously injured as they were by that man.
And those vacant buildings you're talking about, you know who they're owned by? They're owned by the city of St. Louis for the most part through the Land Realization Authority. The biggest slumlord in St. Louis is the city of St. Louis. It's got 9,000 vacant lots, 3,000 vacant buildings, but try to get those in the hands of the people. They just don't let it happen. But yet when the people break in there or do something, they want to have them locked up.
Well, it's funny. They came up with that tax initiative on the last bond vote. Yeah. And it's, we're gonna improve the police force. We're going to reduce crime. Well, I could tell you right now, they're not going to reduce crime. Excuse me. The biggest reason is they've got all those vacant buildings. They've got hiding places. You remove the hiding places, and, once you would raise those buildings, property values would go up. You'd start attracting people back.
Yes.
I was down at Laclede Landing, which 5 years ago was a booming place. It's all vacant. It's shuttered. It's a dead area now. They've lost another potential, economic boom because they put a lot of it on those casino boats too. But I think it's bad political decisions. And from what I see, that's why they lost, I believe it was the Amazon account.
Yeah.
They lost the Amazon account because I'll tell you what, if I was a company and I was looking to relocate to an urban area that had access to everything, and I went to St. Louis and I drove up that I-70 corridor from downtown, I'd say, this looks like a third world landscape. Looks like a war zone. I don't want to bring a business here. This would look bad for the company. And that's probably why they lost that bid, which was an important bid because that was thousands of jobs that would have been attracted to the area. They have a shuttered dome, which the taxpayers are still heating and electrifying and maintaining, but they don't have a team anymore. They gave their team away years ago. So there's nothing in the city that's becoming profitable, that's creating jobs, that's improving the economy. And when you have everything so far down economically, what's going to happen is crime's going to go up. People have to survive. People have to eat. People need some kind of shelter. So they're going to do whatever it takes to get those needed things. And of course, if crime's involved, that's the way they're going to go. The city has given them no alternative. They've offered nothing, to help improve the lives of those people struggling. From my personal opinion, when I went there this past week, when I froze, when I came home, I'm like, you know what I learned? Those people feel hopeless. Everybody's given up on them. And I don't just mean the homeless. I mean the low-income people. I mean whoever's still left in the city, with the exception of the people in the fancy $200,000 condos that don't want to see a homeless person in their neighborhood because, God forbid, homelessness may be contagious and they don't want to catch it. So if they ignore it and push it away, it won't bother them. They won't feel guilty.
Well, it's not only in St. Louis, it's also in Springfield. We're finding so many people in need.
Hello, I'm Chris Rice here in Springfield, Missouri. Tell us your name, sir.
Christopher McGuire.
All right, Chris. So tell us what's been going on lately. How you been doing?
Here lately, not really too well. Losing a lot of sleep, taking care of my fiance, which I really want to do. Will not just push it to the side if she's sick. I've had a few little family problems that have been taken care of, and myself, I really just push out to nowhere and take care of what I need to. I don't just put up my hands and, well, I can have this, I can have this. I do for others before I do for myself. I've always been like that.
Okay. And where are you staying right now?
Through all the nasty snow and everything, my fiance and I were staying at a friend's house, but now since the weather's starting to come back up and everything, we really don't know. We've stayed under bridges, or with friends if we had to. So we both really don't know at the present time.
You don't have a tent right now?
No, that we do not. But I believe we do have the tent stakes, just no tent.
Were you able to get into the family shelter?
I haven't tried yet.
Okay. All right. So what can we help you with today? What's going on?
Like I was telling the gentleman here right in front of us, I have 2 bus passes to get my fiance to the hospital. I just need a way to come back from the hospital after we find out if she will even be released from emergency room.
Okay.
Because I believe I was told by my daughter 2 seizures just this weekend down at the Come and Go there on National and Chestnut, and was very hair close to being put into the hospital that night. So it's kind of a, do I touch here and lose? Do I touch here and lose? What do I do?
Well, as you're hearing being described, living as a homeless person or a homeless person relationship is very difficult. There's a constant threat of sickness, of being hurt, of being cold, in the summertime being too hot, overheating. And the New Life Evangelistic Center in Springfield and in St. Louis, Missouri is here for people in need. And we want to continue to be there. We just ask for your help and your support. Log on to newlifeevangelisticcenter.org or nlecstl.org. You can also reach us on Facebook. Look up New Life Evangelistic Center. And please give to the work of New Life Evangelistic Center, and we would surely appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Chris, for talking to us.
Not a problem.
I'm talking to Cassandra right now, and you're homeless.
I am.
Is that a new experience for you?
Yes, definitely.
Couple
months. So it's
wow. How did you
coldest months too.
It's cold out there. Mm-hmm. So how did you end up without a home?
Really just kind of one thing led to another, and I got laid off from my job because it was kind of seasonal. And then where I'm from Lake of the Ozarks, but it got so cold there wasn't really any shelters open or anything. So managed to catch a ride here to Springfield and stayed the night at the warming center. The first night we got into town, and then caught a bus over to here. Just kind of.
How did you find out about this place?
All the people at the warming center.
So they all said, "Come here during the day."
I didn't know where to go or what to do.
This place
so
is pretty packed
there's still snow. It is.
We're going to try to help you some bus tickets, and of course, all the other services here. What can we do to get you off the streets?
A job, any kind of housing assistance. Really, at this point, anything helps. So,
you've been looking for work?
Yes, I have.
What kind of work do you do?
I've worked in retail or sales, so I know there's a lot of call centers here and stuff.
And
so
you made some contacts with that.
Yeah, and I'm trying to go to a couple interviews later on today. So
and so that's how those bus tickets will help you when you get there.
Definitely.
And do you pray?
I do.
Do you look to God for help?
Yes.
Do you see all this as an answer to prayer?
Yeah, it really is.
Tell us, when you first discovered that you were going to be without anything, what thoughts went through your mind?
I really just got to give it to God and just kind of, it's bigger than me, and just turn it over. I don't know much, but I know that without Him, I can't handle it. So just got to give it to God and keep hoping and praying.
And you believe that He's going to do it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's already done it. Just the people that I've met, directing me into this place and being able to have all the resources here and know that, I'm okay. I'm with good people, and that's a lot.
God is a miracle working God. You're part of His miraculous work as you let His love flow through you and as you help. Will you share that much needed gift now with New Life Evangelistic Center at P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, at 63166. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of people that are coming to New Life right now at this time with nowhere else to go.
Hello, I'm here with Quentin, and Quentin, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're going through right now.
I've been homeless for over the past year. Me and my wife now have been on the streets, and here at first we didn't know that this was a day place that homeless could come to. I thought it was just for veterans, and then recently learned here, so it's been a very help and very grateful to us because this is where we come every day.
Okay.
And if it wasn't for this place, we'd be out there in the cold and freezing our butts off.
Yeah. So where are you staying outside?
We stay at a tent at the end of, you know where the gathering tree is?
Okay.
That's at the end of the railroad tracks there. We stay in a tent there. And we are really looking forward to, because actually we stay with a gentleman in his tent. So we're cramped up in there, but it's better than being out there in the cold.
Yeah, that's right. If you could just let someone know who's never experienced homelessness for themselves, what's one of the most difficult things about being homeless?
The being outside, the weather. That's because there is a lot of resources and stuff in this town that provided it's during the warmer season it's not too bad. Just being honest, it's during that cold is the brutal.
Yeah.
That's those single digit weather.
Yeah.
There was a couple times I thought I had frostbite.
Well, we had a scare last night because we had a tornado warning. So what did you do in that?
It rained till 4 o'clock in the morning. Honestly, got a little wet. That every time I'd step out to go to the bathroom, I got wet. We were on my blanket, got all soaked, but there wasn't a whole lot. It was better than being straight out in it.
What did you think you'd do if a tornado came through there?
Honestly, I don't know. I just had to dealt with it when it came.
Yeah. There's so many people who, like Quentin, are trying to make it out in the elements, and it's very difficult. And please consider the homeless who are there through the weather, like tornado warning last night, where it's really unsafe to be in a tent when you've got winds up to 40 miles an hour and you've got heavy rain and wind and then, we get back into the cold weather this time of year again. Please remember these people, and please give the work of New Life Evangelistic Center. That's why we're here, is to care for people. We don't like to see anybody outside. We really want to see them get back into housing, and that's the end that we're working toward. We are partners with others in the Community Council of Churches and the Continuum of Care in the community here, and it's a joint effort. We are trying to work to see that everybody gets back into housing. But without affordable housing, what we see is that more and more people are becoming homeless. So please give the work of New Life Evangelistic Center. Remember Quentin, his wife, in your prayers. And we give all glory to God for all the good that's done here. Thank you, Quentin.
Thank you very much. And God bless you guys.
Bless you too.
I'm back with Cassandra. She's here in Springfield also, a mother of a 4-year-old daughter out on the streets. Cassandra, does your faith help keep you going?
Yes, definitely.
And she's not alone. There's so many. And we want to be there when the people are hurting. And it's possible because of all of you that are praying, caring, and sharing. So whether it's in St. Louis or Springfield, there's a lot of people in need up here too, right?
Yes.
Just like there is in St. Louis.
Yes, there is. They're all around.
And we want to continue to reach out to them. And here at 806 North Jefferson, we have the Veterans Coming Home Center, and now also the WIN program, the Women in Need program, where they're not only here all day long, but they come in the evenings before we get them into a safe place to sleep. That's a blessing.
Yes, it's an absolute blessing, just especially in the cold winter months.
And you help make it all possible. And so I thank God for each one of you that are getting involved at this time. And again, continue to keep us in your prayers here at the New Life Evangelistic Center as we reach out through the love of God. It's P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, that's 63166.